Hello, welcome to the Psychic Kitchen. We have Cody the Sound Healer today. You can find him at Cody the Sound Healer on TikTok. I think Jimmy has the other info as well when we get to that.
Indeed. I'm just gonna. I'll put your. All right, Cody. I'll put your info, like your TikTok address, in the banner, so
Cool.
so people can know where to find you.
Beautiful.
So,
Go ahead, brother.
Well, now you go. That's all right.
What led you into this journey, Cody?
What led me into this journey? I struggled with a disconnection from spirituality pretty much from a very early age, man. I started abusing drugs at a very young age, man, and became extremely dependent on substances, bro, to hide from my emotions that I didn't understand. And so I was forced into a new way of thinking due to the darkness that I pretty much forced myself to be into, you know? So it was a matter of life or death for me when it comes to like the spiritual path and taking accountability for my life and showing up for myself. It definitely took a lot of pain, you know, a lot of pain. I went through a lot of trials and tribulations, and you know, a lot of us like to say the dark night of the soul. I definitely went through the dark night of the soul in order to get to where I'm at today, man, for sure.
And what led you into like with finding instruments and starting to play the instruments and things of that nature?
I'm not really sure if, man, if it feels for me, bro, the music, the instruments, and everything that I do was given to me by the universe as a divine mission. The instruments found me through my own inner work that I was doing. It was like the gifts were being given to me. As the more I became accountable and the more I became vulnerable, the more gifts were presented to me, the more tools were given to me so that I could become the best version of myself. You know what I'm saying? And there was, before I was in the instruments and stuff, I was a case manager in rehab. I was a case manager. I was a house manager and also a behavioral health technician for a detox facility for young men and women who are trying to get off of drugs and alcohol. I did that for years of my life, man. I recovered, and then I got into recovery work, and so that was kind of my introduction into being a healer, holding space for other individuals. I was just doing it in a different setting, you know, because to be able to show up for individuals in that way by showing them a different way of life. You don't have to be drunk all the time. You don't have to be high all the time. And being able to relate to individuals on that level. I mean, I case managed over, I mean, probably 500 or 600 people in like 2 or 3 years. And through my finding instruments, the singing bowls was what first started everything. And through case management and working in treatment, I was giving away free sound healing sessions. Like while I was working in rehab, I was meeting with these guys. And, you know, if they didn't have anything to say, I would just be like, hey, you want to just close your eyes, relax for a minute? I'll play a little bowls. That was when I just was starting out. And I started to see the results. I started to see the effects that this type of energy work was having on people versus just like the going to a therapist and saying, hey, how you doing? Good, good. And then you're done. You know, it was like the effects that happen when you actually inspire an individual to take a moment, close their eyes, connect with themselves, open up their heart space. I mean, when someone's willing to do that, you can feel the energy. You can see the results like pretty quick. So I really never forgot that, man. And throughout the years, you know, playing bowls for free, doing this, doing that, You know, my mom she like gifted me some bowls for Christmas. So then I had some more, and then I got some more instruments, and then people were giving me all these different things. And, you know, there was a time when my time at the treatment center, you know, it just wasn't feeling like the place for me anymore. So I had to put in my 2 weeks. I put in my 2 weeks. That was like 3 years ago or so. And I just really focused on sharing my medicine with people after that point on. And I've been just truly focused on building the brand of Cody the Sound Healer, bro, and showing up in that space for the collective, bro, for 3 years or so. So, you know, I would say it really started with working in treatment. It started with giving my gifts away for free and believing in myself, bro, from seeing what I was able to do in treatment and then also being like, man, what could I do without being under the microscope of a corporate company?
Yeah. Excellent.
Did we get that right on there, Cody? I just want to double check.
What now?
Did we get the banner right on your TikTok?
Yeah, Sound Healer Cody. Yep.
Okay. Just want to double check.
Yeah.
So, did you play before you started with the sound healing, and you were given all of these instruments, which is awesome. I mean, just to be given instruments. But did you play instruments before? Were you in a band? Did you do your own thing? Were you instrumental, or did you come about playing instruments because you were interested in sort of the sound healing, and you were given these instruments?
Right. So the music part for me has been very important to me ever since I can remember. Not necessarily playing physical instruments. I just started like the flute. I taught myself how to play the flute like 2 years ago. Like the flute pretty much started once I blew up on social media. That was
He's gone.
Oh, he's back.
you guys cut out there for a second. We good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. What's the last thing you heard me say?
The flute started when once you started.
So the bowls was the first technical instrument that I ever started playing was the singing bowls. But before all that, you know, as a kid and all that, music was just always been my life. Singing, I always sang, and I've made some hip hop music and things like that. But the playing the instruments, physically playing them, it wasn't always a thing until I started you know, working in treatment, and then it really started to take a hold once I left the corporate company and started focusing on my own thing.
Oh, right. Cool. Do you have a favorite instrument?
Man, my favorite instrument. I don't know about a favorite. I have ones, like it changes every day because my energy, you know, our energy is always changing every day. So the key and the tone of the instrument always changes as far as it goes. But you know, right now my favorite is this guy for sure.
Oh, right, yeah. I saw your videos on TikTok where you played that.
Yeah, this is my drone flute. It's got that same harmony kind of sound because there's two tones going at once. And this one is in the key of E for the solar plexus, and that's in 432 hertz.
Oh, right. So, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do you sorry, Jim. When you start doing this, because when I started healing, like I looked for evidence. Like that was my first thing. When I started doing energy work, I was like, well, let me find someone who's psychic. One of my friends was, so worked on her. She's seeing stuff. Okay. Went to my former girlfriend. She had a jaw condition. Worked on her. And then she messaged me the next day, 50% of my pain's gone. I needed evidence at first, but you were seeing that evidence while you were working. Can you explain that? Like what effect did it have on people?
For sure. So I remember one of the first times where I had that feeling. I was like, oh, this is something. I was like, this could be something here. And there was this guy, because in treatment, you know, like that's the thing about in treatment, when you're like doing energy work, usually energy work is full of a room with people that are paying to be there, that are intending to be there, you know. And then when you're in treatment, it's like these guys just have to be there because they just got to be there because they're here and they're forced to be in there. So it's a bit of a different energy when you're doing that type of work with people that aren't necessarily not per se closed off, but they're not really open, right? They're more of like, okay, I'll give it a try. And then there was this guy, big old buff dude from New York. He was like, man, I haven't cried in 15 years, dude. I'm no way, bro. I'll lay here, but it ain't gonna do nothing to me, I promise. Man, I kid you not, bro. This dude was crying like an absolute baby. He said his grandma came to him in the meditation while I was playing the bowls. He said he hadn't had that much reassurance and confirmation. He hadn't felt that relaxed in over 20 years. And then I was like, oh. And so that was when I was like, okay, dude, like this can't be just a coincidence. This guy is just like, you know what I mean? And so we kept going. We just kept going. And then I started asking people after every sound healing session, like, how did that make you feel? Like, how was that for you? Did you see colors? What did you experience and all that? And it was really cool to do that with this demographic of people, because most of these people, I was their first introduction into anything that had to do with healing vibrations, frequencies, anything like that. And so, and then I started seeing, as I was running groups for the treatment center, you know, because the therapist would be like, hey, I'm busy. Can you cover my group? And then after some time, everybody just wanted me to run group only. They were like, can you have him bring those bowls in here? Can you have him, you know? So I was like, dude, there's something to this, bro. This isn't just, you know, they like it and they don't even understand what it's doing for them, but they know they need more, you know? And that was all the proof I really needed, man. And then just like throughout the years, bro, like I've had people completely bust into complete tears after me singing for 2 seconds or playing the flute for 1 minute and they pass out. They're completely just in the most relaxed state and like, and then having it being the person that experiences the healing as well. I've had so many experiences on my own as my own, like as receiving the healing, you know, where I'm like, oh, dude, energy is the realest thing in the world, bro. You know, it's the realest thing in the world. And so, you know, there's definitely many times where I was like, wow, the proof is right there, man. There it is. That's like, I don't question it at all anymore, you know?
Yeah, totally. And because I was going to ask whether there was a sort of a memorable experience that someone had from one of your sessions. Obviously, Thomas asked whether if there was a profound one, but I was speaking to a friend a while ago, and I don't know how you feel about this, but we were talking about, is there an absolute truth? Because everyone's, you know, has got their own truth, so to speak, and everyone has perception and sees the world different ways and stuff like that. And I was kind of thinking about it, and I was thinking, well, sound and vibration kind of affects everyone and affects everything. And so I was, that kind of got me to thinking that sound and frequency is kind of like the absolute truth, because because certain frequencies will do something to someone whether they perceive it to be something else or not, or whether they will what, regardless of what they believe. It seems to me that sound will have an effect regardless of someone's beliefs or perception. So I mean, I'm just sort of thinking out loud, so to speak, but it's kind of your experience of sound and being able to sort of affect people who don't necessarily haven't done anything like that before, and I guess them being open to it, like that you said about that guy. That's all you can ask, really. You don't expect them to sort of go in with 2 feet, but just be open to it, and once people do, they find that generally that it has an effect on them. But I was just wondering, do you have different instruments for different chakras, or is it all about the scale of the instrument?
So when it comes to different keys for the different chakras, like just to go through them, like B, the key of B is going to be the crown. A, third eye. The G is going to be throat. F is going to be heart. E, solar plexus. D, sacral. and then we're going to go down to C is the root chakra. But just because I say that B is associated to the crown chakra doesn't mean that everybody's going to feel it at their crown. You know, I play the crown chakra flute, and some people feel it in their knees. Some people feel it in their back. So it really, sound goes wherever it needs to go the most. That is what I've recognized and observed over the years of facilitating sound for people, is that it's going to go wherever it's supposed to go, regardless of the key. You know what I'm saying? It does definitely help. Sometimes I will be very much more intentional with the chakra healing cleanses in sessions, because I'll say, all right, guys, let's focus on the crown. You know what I mean? And then I'll go down, let's focus on this. But there's also times where I don't say that, and I just play, and then I'll go and ask where each person felt that flute. Some people will feel it exactly where the flute is tuned to. Some people will feel it somewhere else, you know. But I try to be pretty cautious with that, because sometimes people can think they're doing it wrong. If I say that it's for the crown chakra and they're feeling it in their root, they're gonna think they're doing something wrong. You know, so I really try to keep it more like for your own individual experience in regards to the frequencies, because one sound session for one person is a completely different type of sound session for another person. You know, we experience, like, when people listen to music, like me and you could listen to the same song and be hearing two completely different things, but it's the same exact song, but that's based upon who we are as an individual inside. You know what I mean? How we're choosing to listen to things. Because with me in music, for example, I very much focus on the vocals when I'm listening to a song. Some people who very much focus on the drums. Some people focus on the bass, you know, but you can really take your mind and split it into different parts when it comes to music. Cause you could have listened to the same song for the last 5 years every day, but then you hear it on a different speaker and you hear something in the song you never heard before. Even though you've heard that song every day. And that's the same with my flutes. I'll play this flute today. Tomorrow it's going to sound completely different because I'm different. I'm not the same person that I was when I just played this yesterday. You know, we aren't the same person that we just were when we listened to that song. So sound really is everything, man. It truly is everything. It is one of the things. I loved what you said about sound being one of the things that we can consider being a universal truth, is that sound affects people whether they want it to or not, you know?
That just occurred to me, and one like a few weeks ago, and I just thought, oh yeah, that sounds. I mean, I don't know, but it just sounded right to me, and just from my experience of like doing frequencies and sound and stuff like that. And I like what you said. I like what you said about how you can infer or tell someone, oh yeah, this is for that watch, you know, this is for the crown chakra, but they might feel it in another part of their body. And I've had that experience as well. You create something for a specific chakra or a specific body part, and someone says, oh yeah, I felt that in my such and such, and this but you think, well, it goes where it needs to go. So like
exactly.
But
I mean, there's a lot of things about sound that people can't even begin to comprehend, my friend. Like, there are truly many cases around the world for years where sound has healed cancer, my friend. It's healed like organs, and your certain organs. There are, like, people don't understand or are very not educated when it comes to alchemy singing bowls. Alchemy singing bowls in itself, those bowls have the power to rewire the brain, completely rewire the chemical makeup in our brains, completely help your organs start functioning in different ways. I mean, there is and all you got to do is listen. That's it. All you got to do is close your eyes and just listen and allow. That's it. But I mean, there's many cases, man, many cases where people were actually dying of terminal illness, and they are living their most healthy life today because of sound, because of vibration, because of frequency. Even deaf people can have an experience, a beneficial release from sound healing, because of, you can still feel the vibrations even if you can't necessarily hear them, you know.
Yeah.
But if a deaf person were to be laying in front of a person playing flutes or playing drums or playing bowls, they would still feel that in their body.
Mm. Oh, totally. I've had it where I've put the level of the frequency or whatever I'm listening to right down low, so I can't audibly hear it, but I can, my body can still feel it because it's still resonating in the, you know, in my heart chakra or whatever, whatever frequency that I've used, and it's obviously because the body will pick it up. You know, our body is a big sensor almost, isn't it? So it can pick up regardless of whether we can hear it or not. But I was just curious. What's because there's so many, well, I say so many, there's different theories about 440 hertz. So you know, some say it doesn't matter what, you know, it's not the sort of the evil frequency or whatever, or it's not it's not a bad frequency because it's just a frequency. What's your view on sort of the 440 tuning, 440 hertz tuning? Is it, you know, I mean, it's just personal preference, I suppose.
Yeah, so I would say, like, me personally, I
Yeah.
have flutes that are 440. I have
Mhm.
some, but I prefer 432.
Yeah, yeah, like, yeah.
Out of preference, it has a more smoother
Mhm.
tone to it. And what I'm gonna say about 440 or just bad frequency or bad hertz or whatever, you know, the perception that's there is
Mhm.
that everything that we do is infused with the intention in which we are doing it. So if
Mhm.
somebody has a ill intention with the hertz 440, then that is what's going to make that frequency a low vibration. It's going to be
Mhm.
dependent upon the individual that is emitting that frequency.
Mhm.
That is real, because the sound, when it comes to instruments, you are the vessel for that sound to come out. But you need, that instrument needs your body in order to, our energy is connecting with these instruments as we're playing them. So
Mhm.
I don't believe, I believe anything could be low vibrational if you make it be. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? I really do.
Yeah, I suppose because I guess the reason why others, and I used to think that, I used to think that 440 was a bad frequency, only because you see cymatics patterns of the 432, which is nice and synchronistic, and everything is in beautiful synergy, and then you've got the 440, which is just a blob. Apparently, you know, you see these things, and I guess that's where that comes from, because you think if that can, if that frequency can do that, then imagine what it's doing to your insides, because obviously
Right.
it restructures us, doesn't it? Obviously frequencies, well, everything is sort of restructuring us in a sense. But have you had any, have you delved into cymatics? Do you have a Chadley plate or anything like that? Is that something that,
So, sorry, ask me that again. How I got into, what was it?
cymatics, you know, where you basically, you have a plate, you have an
Oh, with
instrument.
the sand, and then you,
Yeah, yeah, that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I have not done it, but I have watched and done a lot
Mm,
of different research on that stuff. Yeah, yeah, I have, but I don't
yeah.
have one myself.
No, me neither. I'd like to get one. I find it fascinating just to go through all the frequencies and everything. But
But what I will say to you about that is, like, I feel
mm,
that there's, just like everything else,
mm,
there's a good time for 440, and then there's a
yeah,
good, you know what I mean? There's a
mm,
time and a place for it. And I
yeah, yeah,
feel like it really could be,
mm,
if it's
mm,
applied accordingly, it could
mm,
be very beneficial. But if it's applied, you know, in not so
mm,
beneficial way, then, you know,
mm,
because I know when I play 440 for a long time, it moves a lot of energy out of me, and I get nauseous to a certain point.
mm,
So I feel like with balance and with, you know, putting it in the right places at the right time, and making sure that you're spiritually fit and you're in a place vibrationally to handle the 440, as well, you know, because there are days that I can't handle playing the 440. You know, I only choose to play 432 some days.
Yeah.
Well, there was a lady, I lived at her house. She's a little out there, but she would play frequencies. But this is a big thing that I had to realize when I was there, was that every night she would play a different frequency. And she would use rife machines, all these other things. But I was like, it can't be healthy, at least in her, because she's choosing the frequencies and she wasn't mentally stable. She is not. So I was like, all these, because I would be I'd be like, this is not the frequency I need, because she's randomly choosing.
Right.
Every single night. I'm like, all these frequencies every night cannot be good for me. Like my guides are like, this is not good. But I think it also depends on who's doing it. I mean, it's like with energy work, you know, who's doing it, like where they're at, how they're doing it. Because when I see you live, like you got a lot of people really interacting in your live feed and all that. So you can see the purity in it, I guess is what I'm getting at. You can see the purity of what you're doing.
Thank you.
You don't always see that all the time. So it's like,
bro.
I guess that really goes with who the person is that's on the camera.
Yes, 100%. I couldn't agree more, man. You know, some people just don't have the medicine for you. You know what I mean? That person's medicine that they share is just not for you, not in a negative way. It's just, hey, it's not for me. And so, yeah, bro, I agree with that. Thank you for saying that, bro.
Oh yeah, totally.
Do you have a Rife machine, or have you studied the Rife frequencies, or done any work with on that front?
No, I haven't. I haven't. Yeah, my pretty much all of I'm trained and attuned, and I was taught how to play bowls and like all that type of stuff at the Sedona Crystal Temple based on alchemy singing bowls, and then everything else, man, I just taught myself. I haven't really had I just do it from the heart, bro. Like every like music and all the sounds and songs you guys hear me play on my TikTok are literally off the top of my head, freestyle right there.
Cool. I think that's the best way to some degree.
It is, man.
Because it's very authentic. It's genuine, isn't it? It's not, you're not copying someone else. So
right.
That's cool. Bear with me. Sorry, 1 minute. Carry on. I just need to check something.
Okay, no worries.
Well, what's like the biggest thing you've seen happen when you've worked with somebody? I know that's a hard question because doing energy work, I've seen all kinds of things, but like what stands out to you?
Man, what stands out to me? The biggest thing, man.
There's actually been question. People ask.
No, because there's been so many, man. There's been so many where I'm like, whoa. Like I've had really like people's like during sessions, I've had a few people like literally tell me that was the first time I've ever connected with like like what they believe to be God. Like it was like their first time that they ever felt connected to a power that was greater than them, you know, like truly. And that right there always just is very profound to me. To just through the power of breath, because that is another one of my main modalities is I do breath work as well. I do like any session that you do with me, we're doing breath work first and then we do sound. So it's about 30 to 40 minutes of intense trauma release breath work. And then it's followed by you know, the sounds always change, but it always is a sound journey in some way, shape, or form. And so I've had people like their whole life changes afterwards. Like one good energy work session could be so transformative to an individual that people couldn't even put it into words, bro. You know, I've had people not even be able to stand because they're so relaxed. They've never been that relaxed in their life, you know? And so the ones that really stand out to me, bro, are the ones where people are so closed off. They feel like there's no connection. They're so lost. And then they leave after just breathing for 30 minutes, listen to the flute for 30 minutes, and they feel like a completely new person. They're like a million times lighter. They have the answers to things that they didn't have before. And it's like all it really takes is going inward. All it takes is for somebody to hold some space for you to really just take a moment to breathe. And what can happen is profound, man. Truly. Truly.
Yeah, totally. I agree. I've got a question from Fufi. Hey, Fufi. She says she'd be interested to know if you have some favorite TikTok or social media sound or frequency creators, and who are
Yes,
they?
I do. Yes, I sure do. Zachariah Grace is one of my brothers. He's been one of my inspirations. Me and him are going to be doing a retreat here pretty soon, and probably in the next year in Santa Fe. He's a flute player out there in New Mexico. Amazing. He's also a very he does a lot of reiki in his flute playing, like me as well. And then also Gregory Red Wolf. He's another one of my favorite flute players on there as well. So Zachariah Grace and Gregory Red Wolf. And who am I missing? Those are my main two for sure, as far as sound healers go. And then also the Sorcerer 333. That's the only person that I get energy work from, readings, intuitive guided message. The Sorcerer 333.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man. Speaking of readings, does anything ever come through? Like, obviously, people get their own whatever they need from the sound. But do you ever get messages for people and when you're playing?
Right. Yes, I do. And the messages come through to me in the form of light language, my friend. So
cool.
each person, that's always a part of my sessions as well. Light language, chants, mantras, things of that nature. And, depending on if it's a one-on-one or, sometimes I have 25 people in a session, I go to each individual every session. I walk by each person and I speak light language to their energy. I stand right by them. I go to every single person. So, yeah, I'd get a download for each person every session that I'm in.
Yeah, cool. Because it's just another frequency, isn't it? It's just another
Right.
vibration.
The voice is the most powerful sound healing instrument. If you guys did not know that, that is a well-trained voice is the most powerful and most healing tool that we have as individuals is our voice.
Yeah, totally. How did the light language? How did you start with the light language? Where you? Because I mean, I feel like most people can speak it. They don't need necessarily to be activated or anything like that. They can just speak
No,
it.
they just need to remember.
Yeah.
Activation to me is really just remembering. And you don't need somebody else to help you remember. You can go inward and you can do that on your own. And so I personally did have some help, years before I was on social media, before I was doing all this, I did a lot of shamanic energy work with one of my guides and healers. Her name was Donna, and I met with her several times a week for years, man. And she did lots of activations on me. She, did a lot of soul retrievals with me and things of that nature, which really helped with a lot. She connected me to my spirit animals. And man, I really feel that in order to tap into your own soul language, it really just takes some inner work. It takes some getting to know yourself. It takes some meditation. It takes just really doing whatever it takes to remember who you are. You know what I'm saying? If you have the willingness to remember who you are, your soul language will come to you easy peasy, man.
Yeah, totally. And because I find that, I mean, in my case, obviously I can only speak for myself. It was more so I went to someone because I wasn't confident in my own intuition or in my own belief that I could speak it or do anything. And so I feel like we sometimes go to other people and because we're not confident in ourselves that we can do it.
Right.
And so that almost like them saying that we can is almost to sort of use a Bashar phrase, is that it's like a permission slip for us to actually be it, even though we can already do it. We just need someone to tell us, oh yeah, you can do this, or you can do that now, or whatever. So
yeah, having a coach, I mean, having a spiritual coach is, I mean, I feel it's important, man. It really is. It's really important to you know, someone that's been and doing it for a little longer, that is, you know, standing firmly in their spiritual foundation. To have somebody like that in your corner, guiding you, taking you under your wing. I mean, it's like a foolproof plan, man. You know, especially if you are really zoned in, tapped in. You don't have to do this on your own, bro. Spirituality is not a solo mission. It's just not. And to try to say that it would be causing yourself more challenges than you need to, because people are there to help. People want to help you 100% when it comes to your spiritual path and remembering who you are and giving you the tips on how to stay connected to spirit. I mean, people want to help, you know, they really do. At least I know I do. I know lots of people that want to help, bro. It's I literally wake up every day and I'm like, man, I want to help somebody, you know what I mean? Play the flute today, or remind somebody to do this or that, you know?
Yeah, totally. It's mentors and everything, and we need that sometimes, because that's the only way we learn, I suppose, by interacting with other people, don't it? Like you say, it would be really hard to do it all by yourself.
Right.
So yeah, totally agree. Sorry, Thomas.
Even when I started, it was like I looked for the best teachers I could find. I would walk out of classes and everything, because I'd be like, this person can't help me. Like, intuitively, I just knew. Until I found like one lady that was in mind shamanism from like thousands and thousands of year lineage, and I was like, that lady, if I see her, she's gonna change everything. Like, I knew it, and it scared me. But eventually, I went to her, and then, you know, she passed away. But the point is that, yeah, it's you find like masters out there sometimes.
Yes.
And they like to hide sometimes too. I've noticed this. They like to hide. I found a master in acupuncture that was like divergent channels, which is really like not something normal in acupuncture. And she was like, woman solely booked out in Savannah, Georgia, but she like is hidden. And then like my former teacher was like hidden as a chiropractor and a teacher. And I'm like, why are these people hidden?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Like, some of the best people I've ever seen. I'm like, at their modalities or whatever they're doing, I'm like, why are they hidden? But some of them don't. They don't want the recognition. You know, they don't want to be seen by everyone or whatever.
Right. Wow. Thank you for sharing that, bro. Because the master teachers, bro, like once you open your energy up to be aligned with those master teachers, bro, I remember it was like they just all found me all at once.
Yeah. And it, I think with TikTok, I mean, TikTok can be a great thing. It can be a negative thing. It just depends on how, with anything, Facebook, Instagram, anything. But what I've noticed is people, and this is just in my opinion, doing this work full time, a lot of times people want things really fast. And it can't happen that way. You know that. Like, I can do energy work and kaboom, someone can be cured of something, whatever that issue is. But I've just noticed now in our society, I don't know why I'm going this way with my guides, but a lot of people want things just like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, and I have to say this on live feeds and in person, I'm like, do you know how long it took me to get here? Like, the trials and tribulations I had to go through to get here.
That part, man. Yep. Yeah. Like, if you only even knew, dude.
Yeah.
Straight up, that's what I want to say to him. If you only knew, man.
Totally. Got another question. This time from Donna. Hey, Donna. When you do lives, does frequency? I think you may have touched on this earlier.
Cody, when you do lives, does the frequency music you play come to you to play by who's all in your lives for that group specifically? You know, to a certain extent, Donna, yes. Because, you know, when I'm in my lives, I have a lot of people in there sometimes, and I can feel the energy. And also, I like to be very interactive with my people on there. I always, because I have so many instruments, I'm always like, hey, who wants to hear what, and then we'll kind of see. And a lot of the time, the answer will be pretty, like, most people will say the same thing, you know, in the live, you know, people will be like, it'll be like heart, 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 and then I'll get a couple like solar plexus. But yeah, the energy definitely matters in the room, as far as where the frequencies are coming from and where they're going, for sure.
You read
I've
the
noticed
energy.
too, doing a lot of healing work lately, that I keep going to the heart chakra like over and over. It almost gets annoying to me a little bit sometimes because I'm like, heart chakra again. But I guess there's so many people dealing with depression and other things at this time. Like getting that open, they're like shutting that off. And
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
key, Mary. That's the key to discovering yourself.
100%, man. I feel the heart space is one of the most damaged places for most people, bro, because we're so, at least for me, you know, I had to learn how to turn my heart off, bro, in order to survive. I had to turn it off. I did not have the emotional capacity to even have it on, bro, because I needed it to be. And so we're constantly opening up, closing, opening, closing, opening, closing, opening, closing, opening, closing, like all the time. Like we are, at least that's how it was for me. I can't speak for everyone else, but I feel like that is one of our energy centers in our body that we are constantly just opening and closing out of fear.
It's like sine wave, I suppose. You know, open, close, and then open,
Yeah.
close. Sort of, that's the way I see it. But Barb says, do you play at events? I think you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, I do play at events, my friends. I travel around the US. I'm doing a retreat in Joshua Tree in August. I do a lot of energy work and sound healing sessions and breath work sessions in Northwest Indiana 4 times a year. I'll be back in May. I do some stuff in Colorado sometimes, and I'm expanding. So if anybody wants to reach out to me and you have a place that you would want to see me at to do an event, man, please. I literally have done that for people. I had someone reach out to me from Colorado. I went there. That's how Joshua Tree started. This will be my 3rd year doing that. But I do events out here in Arizona too. And yeah, for sure.
Oh, cool.
Now, what about your jars that you make? Can you explain that to me?
Oh, yeah. So my jars, man. Yes. Let me get one to show you though, so I can kind of. So my jars are healing intention jars. I've been making these for some time now, a few years now. Each one of these jars is filled with different herbs, resins, intention, and energy for the individual. Like you can see the one that I have on here. I have some different sizes. Each one is made from copper. The top is made of copper, and then we have olive beads here. So let me see. Let me change the camera here. So here's my curation station for all my jars. This is where I fill them up with. This is one of my jars that I just made for one of my friends, Shubes. And so I've actually been doing a little bit different than I've been lately. I just started to be able to physically write my light language out as of the last few weeks. And so this one is for Shubes. And, you know, here is all the ingredients I have in there with the light language. And this one turned out very beautiful. So each one, guys, is curated for a spiritual purpose for the individual. I write scrolls for them. You know, I have a jar for anger. I have a jar for depression. I have a jar for anxiety. I've made a jar for almost pretty much everything, you know. So it's one of my creations, another spiritual tool. I like to make a lot of spiritual art, spiritual jewelry, things to help people be connected, things to help people feel confident and feel strong and just harmony inside themselves, man. You know, it's one of the many things I make, and the jars has been a extremely powerful movement on my channel. like extremely powerful movement. Most people, like I've made hundreds, probably 600 of these. Every single person has physically watched me put everything in the jar. They've watched me make it live, every jar. There's not many people that haven't. I have jars in France. I have jars in Spain, Australia. I have them in almost every state in the U.S. It's formed such a strong community spiritually on my channel. These jars, Michelle has one. Michelle has a jar that it's one of one. She's the only jar. She's the only person that has that type of jar. She has the jar with the big piece of amethyst on the top. And so the jars helped me. Like I bought like most of my instruments with the money I made from those jars, So it's been such a powerful experience with the jars, and I'm still making them. And yeah, it's awesome, man. Thank you for asking about that, Michelle.
I was gonna say, just like sort of almost with the same. If you got, say, for example, two people who want the same thing, say they want one for anxiety, then am I right in saying that you may not necessarily make the same jar for both people, because it will depend on their own specific energy or whatever they need, because obviously but yeah.
Yeah, so like I have a baseline of ingredients that I would use for like a jar for anxiety, right? Yeah. But then I'm also gonna tap in with that person as an individual, because their anxiety is coming from a different place than the person before, Yeah. So we might add something, we might take something out. The scroll might be a little different, because we are all the same, but we're also not at the same time. We are all the same, but we're also not at all. So there's the jars for me really is a deep emotional thing, because like a little piece of my story is, I struggled with alcohol and addiction for a long part of my life, right? Very long time, from 13 to 25, 26 years old. And I remember I went to, personally, my friends, I've been to over 40 different rehabilitation centers in my life, over 40 of them, in and out, detoxes, overdoses, and all that. And I'm sharing this because I remember going to these 40 different places over the years of my life, and just remembering being treated the same as every other person that came in, and watching everybody else being treated the same way, being expected to act like the next person or the last person, and just pretty much like this streamlined factory energy of trying to get people better. And it was just like, dude, this is not the way. And so the jars is like, dude, I'm going to be so specific and so catered to each individual when it comes to these jars, bro, because if people feel like I felt when I was trying to get well, in a world where you're just treated like everybody else, and you're just supposed to react the same way, show up the same way, have the same emotions about the same stuff, and just do this, shut up and be quiet. And I just was like, man, there's nothing in the world lately that shows people that this is for them only. This is for you only. And so I like to keep that type of energy alive, man. Keeping it specific for a person, not the people. It is about the people. But you heal one person, you heal 100, bro.
Yeah, totally agree.
I mean, I would see that when I worked at a witchcraft store, but they would have spell jars. Maybe, I mean, it's spells that they call them in the witchcraft shamanism. They call them a million different things. But yeah, that's the first time I came in contact with that, which I found very interesting because I'd never seen it before. But different people would make them and send them in and sell them at this. Everything was handmade in that shop. But yeah, they do hold a lot of energy. So there's so many different ways to use energy. That's what I find so interesting.
So many different ways, man. So many different ways.
So just wondering, you showed me the ocarina before we came on.
Yeah.
Would you like to just talk about the different instruments that you have and how how you use them and such?
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm gonna unplug my headphone.
Okay. Maybe give us a little a taste of the ones, so to speak.
I'll show you guys my some of my favorite flutes. This is one of my favorite ones to show. You know, if you guys didn't know this about me already, giraffes are strong energy for me. It's a giraffe spirit guide, giraffe spirit animal. This flute I had made in Ukraine, and this is in the key of C, and this is my giraffe flute.
I was going to ask you about giraffes, actually. So.
Yeah. And this is going to be a pretty low tone. And if you guys didn't know this, the bigger the flute, the lower the tone. The smaller the flute, the higher the tone. So I'll just kind of give you guys a little sound healing for a few minutes.
Yeah, lovely.
I really like to use this flute when I am feeling a little scattered in my brain. It really brings me back to my body. This flute helps me out a lot. And then we can go to this little guy right here in the key of G. This is from Peru right here, and this is for the throat chakra, and this is a drone flute. Now, the cool thing about the drone flutes is it's two instruments in one. So I can go on this side. So that's one side. And then when I play both,
That's awesome.
I really like this one a lot.
And
that's cool. In 440.
Oh, right. Okay. Excellent.
So you can kind of feel the difference in that 440 versus 432, because the one I played before was a 432. It's a bit more of a... It's kind of hard to explain. I don't know if you guys noticed that at all, but...
I find that the 432, it's kind of the best way to explain it is it brings out things that are deep inside. It will sort of almost connect to a deeper sort of hidden energies, and I think it's supposed to be connected to the moon or something like that, or whether, because we had this conversation a few weeks ago with Luca, and we were talking about the moon and how it's supposed to be 432 hertz, or so. I know sort of the universe is 432 hertz apparently, but how it sort of brings up the shadow aspect. And I don't know what your sort of interpretation of it is, but I do find that it sort of goes a bit deeper, or on a different level, shall we say?
Yes. So with the 432, I find it to be more therapeutic, and the 440 is the more musical end of things. Like when it comes to 440, that's like the, you know what I mean? Like that's when you can really you rip the flute up when you're doing the 440. But with the 432, it's I notice it's like it's more of a tones instead of a song. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's more of a sort of a melodic kind of take you back, take it easy sort of kind of thing, rather than a sort of a high energy upbeat sort of 440. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like here's we could do another comparison. Here's a 432 in low. This is a low D 432. And then here's a 440. Yeah, you see that difference in those, just the frequency and even just how it makes you feel.
Yeah, totally. You can sort of feel the difference. You can almost. I mean, I imagine most people feel it sort of on a subconsciously or an unconscious level. Sometimes anyway. Where are we? Fufi says 432 feels like breath work, 440 feels like body work.
Yes.
Good way of putting it.
I like that.
And Robin says joyful dance versus healing somber.
Yes.
Interesting one. And oh, there's a question. It's about the jars though, so we can come back to that. If have you got any other instruments that you'd like to?
Oh, dude, I could literally show you instruments for 3 days, bro.
Yeah. Well, we got time.
Yeah, I could show you for the next 3 days. I have tons, but I'm willing to answer the question about the jars.
Okay, man. Right, here we go.
Cody, if someone is buying a jar for someone else and the person it being bought for doesn't know it's being bought for them, can you tap into the person it's being bought for to know what they need, or do they need to give consent? No, I do not need somebody's consent in order to create something for them, especially because we create it with the intention that you're getting it for them, because we really can go off of the intention of you're getting that for somebody. Your intention for purchasing this for them is to inspire healing, protection, whatever it may be, because that happens a lot. I have a lot of women that, their husbands aren't really into that type of stuff, and they're like, hey, my husband isn't into any of this, but I want to just make him this. I've made like a couple confidence and fatherhood jars for some men. And, I was always tell the person, hey, let me know how they like it when they get it, because it's interesting to me when somebody buys somebody a jar without knowing, because this is a very intentional gift, for somebody. So yeah, you can definitely, I've done that many times, and a lot of times when the husbands get it or whoever's getting it, they cry. You know what I mean? And then boom, that's when they become connected to their piece of jewelry, is when they read that scroll and they connect and they feel that it's for them. Because even though I'm not talking to the person I'm making it for, we know it's still for that person. And so it's still going to be made for them, and they're going to feel that intention as well.
I was just updating your someone asked about your Spotify, so I was just putting it in the banner.
So I don't have any of my music on streaming services yet. I do have YouTube. I do have that. I'm in the process of getting my recording equipment and having all sorts of sounds for you to stream on Spotify, Apple, all that.
Do you have anything on YouTube yet?
I do have some YouTube stuff. I got some 10-minute videos on there. I intend to be more active on with all my other social media this year, because the state of TikTok and all that. So I'm going to be really establishing myself in other areas all over. So
yeah, that's the message I've been getting too, is it's time to go all these different platforms at once. Oh, you jumped out.
You said, all right. You just...
No, I was saying the message I got was it's time to go to all these different platforms at once and see kind of what sticks. because there's so many. There's Rumble, there's YouTube, there's Instagram, there's Twitter. It's just like, it's insanity. But yeah, people have relied on TikTok. My guys are saying too much. But yeah, I mean, it
was very easy to the lockdown, bro.
Yeah, I know. I've been on it like 3 years, but it's yeah, people get addicted to it really easy.
Yeah, true.
I'll just stare at it for days and days. But yeah, it's distractions. But I mean, as I said, anything can be used for any good, neutral, whatever. Like any platform can be used for that.
Right.
Are there any like oils that you incorporate in your jars or anything like that?
Any what that I incorporate?
Like oils, like, because I'm into a bit of like witchcraft and stuff. So like I have different oils, like Return to Sender.
Yeah. I use chaparral oil a lot, bro, for most things. Chaparral oil, but I also have like, just to show you, bro. I have every single oil you could probably think of. Yeah, I use a lot of oils, scents, resins, incense, man. I mean, I live in smoke, dude. I pretty much live in smoke. I take a smoke bath every single day. I mean, I sell all that on my shop. It's like my main thing. I have, so not really oils for me. Like, I use the oils, but those are mostly for other people. You know, the rollers and things like that. But you know, like, I love chaparral oil. I love the herb. I love the incense. Everything about it, man. I feel like resins and oils and incense are such an overlooked tool to cleanse your space and to manifest your dreams, dude. It's like, man, if everybody just learned how to burn some resins with intention, dude, or use oils with intention, dude, it would be blown away by the power it holds, bro.
Yeah, totally. Do you I was gonna say, I noticed you've got two sphinxes on your t-shirt. Do you connect with Egypt? Do you that's what it. Do you have a pyramid? Do you sit inside a pyramid? Do you use one, or that's the one. I've seen them. They look pretty cool.
Yeah, man. So my past life is very connected to Egypt. I was a high priestess for Anubis in a past life, man. So there is a lot of Egyptian energy that is around me a lot, bro. You know what I mean? It really is. I have some real, like, even the flutes that I play sometimes, it sounds very Egyptian, even though they're not even Egyptian flutes at all. But yeah, man, I got all my.
Oh, cool, Anubis, yeah.
Yeah, I got all my little deities around me, man.
Yeah, cool.
Do you ever talk to the deities? I mean, do you have conversations with them?
So Anubis is more of, he comes through when I'm facilitating a lot.
Okay.
He really, like, takes control and, like, is it's so powerful when he comes through, Anubis. And then, like, Ganesha, homie, is around. I'm very India and Egypt. It's like it's like a split between me and, like, my energies. It's India and Egypt. And so I am so surrounded by Ganesha all the time. Like, they don't leave me alone. So I have conversations with Ganesha more than any deity. Ganesha comes out more than anything, and Shiva, not as much lately. It hasn't been since like 5 or 6 months. But mostly Ganesha. Mostly Ganesha.
Recently, I've been working a lot. I don't know if you know of this deity, because there's so many Egyptian deities, but Mahat, he's like a lion warrior. I just randomly found him through a list.
Oh, dude. Man, I just got chills on my arm when you said his name. So something.
Yeah, it's like Mahat. When I saw it too, I got the same thing. I was like, who is this? Like, I need to talk to him. He's like a son of some being, but he's a lion. He's got a sword. And of
Ooh.
course, the Egyptian writings are kind of crazy, but I think it's MAH. Maybe Michelle's watching. She might be able to figure it out. But, or I can send it through to TikTok or something. But yeah, like Mahat. And then the dude's fierce. Kali as well, I've been working with a little bit lately.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, but with Mahat, it's like no one knows half of these deities. I'd be teaching classes, and sometimes what I'll do is with clients or a class is that I'll take them back to that past lifetime. I don't use hypnosis, but I just take them back for whatever they need to see. And sometimes the total group. And with him, like they had me call him in the last time I did that with a group of people.
Cool. Sophia says she met a dog by the pyramids in Bosnia, and his energy is very much of Anubis. Nice.
Say that again.
Well, I'll put it on here. Have you visited a pyramid before? Obviously, there are pyramids all over the world, not just in Egypt. But obviously, they come through in animals, obviously, just as well as contacting us. But did they? I mean, why do you know why these deities, Ganesha, Anubis? Do you know why they contact you, or did they just? Do they give a reason, or do they just bring through information for you?
So really, it's like I get so much confirmation, I would say, from these deities, my spirit guides, just in general, you know. And I think one of the main reasons why Ganesha follows me so much is because a mantra, one of the first mantras I ever memorized was a Ganesha mantra. And so I felt like ingrained in my soul, you know, like to a point where I've never felt alone ever again. Like even when I'm by myself, you know what I'm saying? It's like once you open yourself up for the deities to be there with you and you just allow them to be there, then it's like it's a very powerful connection to have, truly.
Yeah, totally. How about the sort of the angel realm, the archangels, and all of that? Do you have a do they come through?
We got with the archangels, my friend. I actually have an oracle deck that's angelic light work, and I bust that out a lot. Archangel Michael's very, very. He's around me a lot too, bro. Archangel Michael makes his presence a lot around me. He's the main one for sure, and then Uriel once in a while, and but mostly Michael, man.
Cool. Question from Kylie. Can you share that mantra that you were talking about, Ganesha? Can you share that? Or
yeah, I can. I absolutely can.
Thank you, man.
Let me get my drum. So the mantra is Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And it means I offer my salutations and bow to you. Ganapataye is another word for Ganesha. And Namaha means I offer my salutations to you. So one full translation of Om Gam Ganapataye means salutations to the remover of obstacles. Salutations to the remover of obstacles. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And you can say that mantra whatever way, whatever tone, whatever melody that you want to. It's gonna do what it's supposed to do anyway. And if you're able to say that mantra for 108 times in a row, that's the magic number, my friend. 108 times. And if you have a mala with 108 beads, you wrap that mala around your hand, and each time you say the mantra, you move to a next bead, and then you end when you are back at the beginning of your mala.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've seen that about 100 and 108 being the sort of the magic number, so to speak. Seen things where Om is said 108 times and all of that. What is the significance in this the special qualities about 108? Do you know?
I don't off the top of my head. I really don't. But I know that 108 has something to do with the oh man, what is the word here? Man. Man, I can't remember the word, but there is a significant meaning to the 108 energetically and in a manifestation in a manifestating way, the number 108, you know? I wanted to see what 108 means in my angel number book, but I cannot find it.
Yeah. I'm like you. I don't know why it means or sort of why it's so special. I've seen it and everything like that, and chanted things 108 times, but yeah,
I think it's just going with it because I think a lot of the information is lost at time about why these work the way they do. So even if it was in Mayan shamanism, I mean that's a 36,000-year-old lineage. So Lord knows what they've lost as far as records, but you just know it feels right.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. I did just find the information. So 108 energy lines and it converges and aligns the nadis with the heart and the anahata chakra. Chanting or doing meditation with mantras 108 times is believed to align these energy lines, leading to spiritual awakening and self-realization. So that's kind of the way I wanted to answer it. You know, it has a lot to do with the chakras, you know, the Indian, the Hindu version of it, you know, which is the same version, just a different perspective.
Yeah, totally. I don't know why I want to ask you this, but because I saw something recently about ley lines, and are you on a ley line, or have you had any dealings or experience or with ley lines or anything like that?
A ley line? I'm not sure what that is. A ley line.
All right.
There's like different patterns in I don't know, they faults, Jimmy. I forget. I did a whole thing on Rumble on this, but I can't remember.
Yeah, they're basically kind of almost like the Earth's meridians in a sense.
Okay.
So obviously we have meridians. The Earth is a sort of almost like a sort of a representation of us. How, you know, like you're saying, we're all the same but unique, and that obviously includes the Earth and everything like that. And so just like we have meridians and energy pathways and flow and everything flows, and then chakras, and obviously the Earth has these energy pathways and chakras and everything like that. And I don't know why I felt like asking you that, but I just was curious because I saw something recently that goes into more depth on it. Guy gave a talk and he was explaining about how it affects water and how you can sense it when you're on a ley line, and how pyramids and churches and sort of were built around these sort of congregations of ley lines and the symbols that you see on churches and stuff like that, because churches obviously weren't always places of worship. They were sort of almost sound healing chambers and in a sense previously, but how the connections of the water can obviously determine a symbol, and that symbol is can be used for healing and other things. But I was just curious if you had any information on that, but no problem.
They also connect the Earth. They connect like the Earth's chakras, even though the Earth's chakras can change sometimes, but they'll connect with them too.
Okay, so kind of like vortexes in a way, like in those areas, in a kind of.
Yeah, that's a good way. Actually, yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's my understanding, anyway. It's vortex, yeah.
I've seen a lot of Earth workers. I mean, they know the stuff like the back of their hand. They work a lot just with the planet, but like there's different ley lines, and they do what they do on those ley lines. I mean, they're all over the place, but they've been using them in like Freemasonry and stuff like that, as Jimmy was saying, to build temples and stuff like that.
And you can like douse to find sort of the running the water and everything like that, and figure out the best place to build stuff because of safety and all of that. But that's a bit of a sort of an involved subject, and I don't know that much about it. But I was just curious. But yeah, have you got a gong? Because Sophia said that she's got one and she uses it in her sound healings, and I was wondering if that's one of the
instruments. Yes, I know how to play a gong. I was trained on a gong. I do not own my own gong, but I do use the gong in my sound healing sessions because the yoga studio that I work out of has one in the room, and the gong is the most powerful and also the most dangerous sound healing instrument. You can actually die from it.
Can you really?
If you do not know how to properly play the gong, yes, you could damage somebody pretty badly. So I say that, guys, just to warn you, if you have anybody that you're going to go get a gong bath from, you better go see where they learn how to play the gong, because it's a serious thing.
Is it just like because when I'm seeing it visually, is it just like a blast of energy that's like so strong?
The decibels get so high on a gong, bro, more than any other instrument. And so there's so many different vibrations and frequencies just by hitting one part of the gong that it can literally make your eardrums explode if you are not using it properly. There's actually been an instance where people died because of too high of decibels.
Holy fuck.
But it is so powerful, dude. Gong bath is unlike any other sound bath I've ever been to. I had to tell my facilitator to stop because I had to drive home. There's no way I would have been able to get home if I let him continue, because I felt I was starting to astral project, and I was starting to see like I was seeing myself looking at my face. So that was the first time that had ever happened to me with sound, was with a gong. It is so powerful.
Jesus. What was going through your mind, if any, when you were seeing yourself and you were astral projecting, or were you just sort of in the moment experiencing it rather than?
It's chill. That's happened to me lots of times.
Oh yeah.
But it was, she was giving me the gong bath, but I was a student during that time, and it was like, for an example, I was like, all right, stop. I get it. I can't go anymore, bro. You know?
What about have you had anyone astral project while you're sort of playing your flute or anything like that?
Yeah, people leave their bodies a lot. Yeah, that's pretty normal occurrence. Yeah, that's pretty normal occurrence, because the breath, when we're adding in the breath work, so that's I always do breath work mixed with sound healing and breath work. That combination of things is extremely powerful. So it's pretty hard not to not go outside of your body when in those types of sessions, you know.
Yeah, you really have to sort of hang on for dear life if you don't if you don't want to leave your body.
Right.
So, got any more questions, Thomas? Or
I'm good, brother. I'm good.
Yeah.
Shout him. If you want to find Cody, TikTok is Sound Healer Cody. Instagram _light_society. YouTube Cody the Sound Healer. Is there any websites you want to shout out, my friend? Good.
My website, if you go on my website, you'll see, like, on any of my social medias, my website's going to be in my bio on my link tree. Okay. But guys, I just want to warn you before we get off of here, the scam fraud accounts of me on social media are crazy, dude. I do not message people for readings, asking you for money, none of that type of stuff. I have 2 accounts on TikTok. One has like 160,000 followers, and then the other one, Sound Healer Cody, has about 45,000. So you'll see the real me in my bio. It says I do not message people for readings. That's my real account. And if you get a message from me talking about, hey, give me $20, just block it. Just block it.
It's rampant. I don't know why TikTok doesn't take it down, because I remember when it started, but I got like 50 on my other account. But these idiots never can take off their watermarks.
Ever.
That's like the easiest way to spot them. Like, there's always a
is.
watermark. I'm like, there's a watermark.
You can tell the video has been downloaded and re-uploaded like 7 times because the quality just gets so low, and like 6 watermarks popping up on top. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's almost like the thing, because obviously there's a lot of people who a lot of scammers and everything like that, and it's everyone is having to put, I do not message people for readings, which is fair enough, because obviously it's good to make people aware, but it's almost like becoming a staple thing where everyone has to do it because there's so many and it's happening so often. It's almost like terms and conditions, and sort of it's becoming a staple. Everyone has to put that on their thing just because there are so many of them. It's just,
that's when you know you've made it, pretty much. When people start making fake profiles of you, you're like, oh, you're doing something right. I mean, I know that for sure if they're doing that, but it's very annoying still.
Well, there's huge creators that, like, they can't even do Facebook accounts or Instagram accounts because some scammers taking all their video and they're making revenue from their creation. There's a bunch of like TikTokers talking about that. Like, I can't even make my own videos. Like, they keep kicking me out of my own account on Reels.
Wow.
I'm recording my own account. I'm like, well, oh my God. But people make money. I mean, they want to make money. I mean, I've me and Jimmy have dealt with the scammers forever on Facebook, but it's just I don't sympathize with them at all. But I'm like, you guys are in Africa. They ain't making no money.
Yeah, it usually is, bro. It's usually in a third world country, and I'm just like, man, I hope they're feeding their family with this or something, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, $1 to them is a fortune.
Right.
So sometimes I think I told one of them that years and years, like 2.5 years ago. I was like, on Facebook, it's like, if you guys just got on TikTok, you can make a killing. Because I don't know why I felt like I needed to give them the message. It's like, oh shit. When I started seeing it, I was like, oh God, scammers.
Oh well. Right. On that note, thank you, Cody. This has been fun. It's been informative. Thank you so much for. Did you want to give us any more demonstrations of your instruments, or?
I'm gonna close out with a little light language for you guys, man.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Close out with a couple little minutes of light language, and man.
Sounds good, man.
I invite everybody to tap in, maybe put whatever preferred hand over your heart. Kis nara kuromo katisnik ni aramu turguna tasinieta. Kurinatia masaria kanato soria matarira ora kniasania tariaka. O kramata siniata pokro ahianati sinitinaria taria kanasata tati kaniti kanaro konomovatia nasitira kanapoto konambakaria sa. Krumiati siniti kananabata kanaria nakasuturo kunomaria nata. Kis kinatara kada suturo komotu konomakana sikni atara kisana da potukro mapariata. Isna matiana to hanaria sana kineti sinatakara. Kis nanakanata krekinitara hurukunomore amatiana. Kis nanakronomota. Kinenara kanatuturo knini sinit kanamaturo knis namata. Kininari na kanamotur kunamadis na kini. Namakonomotare anasana kru samati nara kanamotu sonamata. Thank you, everybody.
Beautiful.
Excellent. Thank you, man. Right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you again, Cody. Thank you, brother, Thomas. And we'll see you all again soon.
Much love, guys.
Mine's on Spotify too, everyone.
Oh, yes. We're on Spotify. Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Au revoir.